Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about black male sexuality and how that plays out into mistreatment against black women. I'm going to be making reference to the Diddy situation because I believe that some of what's going on with Diddy is a good example of how suppressed feelings pertaining to one's sexuality often plays out as mistreatment, whether that be physical, whether it be emotional or psychological, harassment, humiliation, things like that, how that plays out towards black women. And as I've spoken about this multiple times on this channel, and you can do a quick Google search of your own to look at some stats, gender-based violence, DV, intimate partner violence is a huge issue in the black community, and not just for unambiguous black women. This is an issue that affects all women who identify as black, including exoticals across various admixtures and shades. And you can see this in the victims of Diddy and other men who have been in his circle that I'll be making reference to later on the video. So I'm just going to play a quick clip from blogger Ian Carroll. He talks about, some people call them conspiracy theories, but he really gives a good breakdown and analysis of what things mean. And he's going to be giving just a quick little snippet on one of the lawsuits that was filed against Diddy back earlier this year in February. So just take a quick listen and I'll be back with further commentary.
He started his career as a non-paid intern at A&R until he was then fired in 1993 when he was 24 and founded his own label, Bad Boy Records, later that year. So how does a 24-year-old found a massive record label on his own? Well, when you dig further, you realize it wasn't on his own. It was with the help of Clive Davis, his mentor. And the further into it all you dig, you realize that Clive Davis came out as gay later on, and there's a lot of rumors that him and Diddy were in a relationship throughout this time. This is going to come up over and over and over, just by chance. Clive Davis has been running significant portions of the music industry since our parents were kids listening to music, responsible for artists like Aretha Franklin, Alicia Keys, The Grateful Dead, then later Usher, Outkast, Pink. But back in the 60s and 70s, like Janis Joplin, Santana, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, like, come on, read it. Jones specifically claims that they were trying to groom him to do gay stuff, which has long been the talk of the town in the rap industry by people that aren't with it. Diddy allegedly showed him a tape from a secret recording that he just happened to have of Jones's idol. Diddy apparently told Jones that he had engaged in with this redacted rapper and that redacted rapper and his idol, Stevie J. And apparently he also promised to make sure that Jones would win Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he did gay stuff on camera. Although, to be clear, he wasn't explicitly saying on camera, but Mr. Jones discovered that Diddy had hidden cameras in every room of his home. I'm going to guess that Diddy didn't learn how to wire a whole house with cameras on his own.
Now, I want to preface this video by saying that this is not an attack against gay men, because not all gay men are abusers, and being violent is not a precursor or an innate trait or sign of being gay. Okay, I want to make that very clear. There are many gay men who, across races, who are in healthy, sustainable relationships. This does not apply to you. However, there's a special case in the black community because the black community is still largely homophobic, and many must suppress their feelings for fear of being ostracized or shunned. And this often plays out in hip-hop music. You know, you'll hear rappers and R&B artists make reference to how they feel about gay men, but then you'll hear rumors about those same artists being caught up in same-sex relationships. And on the flip side, a lot of these artists are also hypersexualized and highly promiscuous. And that is often seen as a defense, as a way to kind of shield and protect their sexuality and to protect them from any speculation that they may be gay. Studies show that gay and bisexual men, they're not only the victims of domestic violence, but they are also likely to be the perpetrators of DV if they have high levels of internalized homophobia. That basically means that a sign that a man is a closeted gay is if he is highly violent towards men but also towards women. And this violence is simply a defense mechanism to convince themselves and others that they aren't gay. Like, they want to put on this ultra macho, ultra bravado, look at me, I'm the pinnacle of masculinity. No one could ever confuse me as being gay, which is why I believe, honestly, one of the reasons why I believe that violence is so high in the Black community, because I believe that a lot of Black men have to suppress their feelings because, again, like, the Black community is homophobic. And so, like, they have these suppressed feelings for other men, but like it could never play out. And so they become frustrated, and then one little argument, one little disagreement, one little opportunity turns into violence. Like, there are so many senseless crimes that you hear about in the news, and you often wonder, okay, well, what's going on? This person hasn't done anything wrong to you. Like, what would cause you to lash out like that? And honestly, it could very well be like passions of crime. If we were to do a study and if these guys were to be honest about their attractions, I bet you they would say that they have some sort of suppressed feelings, or at the very least, they have experience with MSM. And you can look up what MSM means. But when it comes to women, I've spoken about this in a previous video regarding Miss Netta, where a lot of closeted gay men specifically, and some gay men, have vag envy, where they envy and they're jealous of heterosexual women, especially Black identified heterosexual women, because of our femininity. It's like, you have the freedom to be yourself and to freely be open with men, while we have to be with women and we don't want to be with women. And this is even more true for Black women, Black exoticals, what have you, because there's a saying in the gay community: inside every gay man is a Black woman, which means that, like, unofficially, a lot of gay men look to Black women as the pinnacle of femininity because of, like, Black women's confidence, their sass, the way that they style themselves. Like, a lot of the sayings that are used in the gay community were co-opted by Black women. A lot of, like, the looks and the styles, the dances, the way that they do drag, like, those were co-opted by Black women or modeled after Black women. Some of them, like, when they do drag makeup, like, they overline their lips to get, like, the full lip effect of Black women. They do really big hair. It may not be big curly hair, but like, Black women, darker skinned women are known to have big full hair. And so when you are literally a Black woman, you were born as one, and you get to kind of live unapologetically in your truth and, like, be this pinnacle of femininity that they see, that their community placed on you. Of course they're going to be jealous when they refuse to live in their truth. And so when you're forced to kind of be with someone, you're forced to kind of go along with the status quo, you're forced to go along with what society and your community tells you is appropriate, you're going to have some level of resentment. And so that often plays out in being mean to the person that you're with. Okay, some men, like, they're with women, but then, like, they have a history of treating women like trash. And it's like, but you're a man and you're always with women, and you say that you love women, and, like, you often boast about how you can get any woman that you want, but then you treat these women like garbage. And it's like, why? They treat these women like garbage because they have resentment towards these women. They don't actually want to be with women. Because if you truly did love the person that you say that you're with, your behavior would obviously be different. Okay, no one would question whether or not you truly care for that person, because you would simply be loving and kind to that person. You wouldn't be aggressive, you wouldn't be abusive, you wouldn't be mean to that person. And so I truly believe that's also why the gender-based violence rate is so high in the Black community, and it spans from unaliving to SA to just simple to battery, because a lot of Black men have resentment towards Black women, not because of Black women's attitude or Black women's mistreatment of them simply because they resent them because they want to be with men. They want to be like Black women in that they want to be able to have romantic relationships openly and freely with other men. But because they can't, because of the social norms in the community that they belong to, they have to settle for being with who they don't want to be with. And I truly believe this because Black men also mistreat non-Black women. They also mistreat lighter skin exoticals or the preferences, as some unambiguous women will say. So it really has nothing to do with you as a woman and everything to do with these men and their unresolved issues. Okay, like look at Diddy. Diddy had access to so many beautiful women, like the cream of the crop, runway models, supermodels, Kim Porter, Cassie, J Lo, and many other women. And as we've seen now, and as people have reported about this over the years, and they didn't listen, like, oh yeah, no, Diddy could never do something like that. But now we're seeing that it's true, what people have been saying. He's mistreated these women. He's done some pretty horrible things. Like, if you look up interviews on YouTube from Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal, you'll hear them talk about how Diddy often treated women. Like, it was horrible. And if you're a man who's constantly in the company of other women and you give off this bravado, macho, ladies' man, you would think that, oh, like this man, he loves women. And so by extension, he would have a healthy connection and relationship with women. But in fact, the opposite is true. That's because men like Diddy resent women because he wants to openly and freely be with other men. But then on the flip side, men like Diddy also have resentment, as I've mentioned before, to other men because it's like you're having these closeted relationships, and there's video evidence of Diddy being with other men and other men being with other men in for Diddy's enjoyment. But those are private. When you look at the grand scale of things, those are private. Diddy has never come out as bi or gay. And so, like, he still would be considered a closeted gay. And so that plays out in violence towards other men who are openly and freely bisexual or gay because, like, they're living in their truth and they're doing something that Diddy only wishes that he could do. You could easily say, oh, it's 2024, like, you should be open and free to express yourself and your sexuality. But again, like, you have to understand the industry that Diddy belongs to and the community that he belongs to. Okay, like, he's a hip hop mogul. Coming out as gay as a Black man is simply unacceptable, especially if you're like a macho man's man. Like, that would really send a lot of shockwaves for a lot of people. Maybe he's afraid that he'll lose support, even though, like, he's a superstar. And the opposite could possibly be true. Like, he could probably get a lot of support today. He could probably make it big with the LGBTQ community. He would say, oh, wow, like, he's one of us. Like, he'd be exposed to a whole new fan base. He'd probably be exposed to a lot more opportunities, especially during Pride. But because he has these internalized ideas and beliefs about what a man should be, but then, like, it's conflicted with his internalized desires to be with other men, that would definitely lead to frustration. And a lot of men play out their frustration by being violent to their partners. The same goes for Stevie J. Anyone who knows Stevie J, he's a cast member, longtime cast member on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. He's also the ex-husband of Faith Evans. I don't know why Faith Evans ever thought it would be a good idea to marry Stevie J. He is a known womanizer. He's been known to physically harm women, but he's also mainly been known to embarrass women. Like, he has this kink for humiliating women. He did it to his baby mom, Mimi Faust, for like 10 plus years. He did it to Jocelyn Hernandez. He's been known to, like, hit on multiple cast members to the point that, like, I remember, like, in the mid 2010s, like the early 2010s, there was a petition put out to ban Stevie from the show because of his predatory behavior. But the same thing applies to Stevie J. Like, Stevie J has also been named in the lawsuit as an MSM, and it makes sense. It makes sense that he would embarrass and humiliate women. And he's also made a lot of homophobic remarks in public, especially towards Erica Mena's oldest son. But it makes sense. He's a closeted gay as well, and he takes out his frustration on women because he wants to openly be with men, but because he cannot openly be with men for his own internalized reasons, he takes out that frustration on women. And that also plays up in promiscuity because he's trying to fulfill sexual desires that he has, but it'll never be satisfied because he's not actually getting what he wants. And that's another sign, that's another common thing in the Black community. A lot of Black men are highly promiscuous. We know that Black women love Black men and will mammy and be pick-me's for Black men in general. So to say that you can't get access to women is really not even an excuse. It's not about whether or not they can get access to enough women to satisfy their sexual desires. It's that they want to have more. They want to truly have access to men. That's what they desire. And so they try to suppress that and fulfill it by sleeping with a lot of women and engaging in risky sexual behaviors, when in fact they should just live in their truth and be with the men that they want to be with. Everyone would be happy. They would stop being mean to and harming Black women, be in relationships with other men. But because they internalize Black people's homophobia, and a lot of them are homophobic too, like they have beliefs about same-sex relationships that they internalize and then project to others. It's sort of like this toxic circle of cause and effect. And so, exoticals, the whole point that I'm trying to make is that you really should, if you date Black men, or maybe you have a Black family member or a Black man that you maybe work with that treats you like garbage, or you see that they treat other women like garbage, just regardless of race, please do not internalize this and think that it is something to do with you or you have some sort of deficiency or you're undesirable. A lot of Black men have issues that they need to work through. And of course, like, because Black women will be blamed for this because Black women are blamed for everything in the Black community. But all the more reason to stay away from men who are not confident in who they are, because they will take out their frustration on you. You need to be with and be around men who are comfortable in their skin and confident with who they are so that they can give you the love and respect that you deserve. Because if you're with someone who has some issues that they still need to work through, you will be on the receiving end of their frustration, and that includes family members as well, okay? Do not be a punching bag for family members or friends who refuse to live in their truth. Get away from those situations and only surround yourself with people who are healthy. All right, let me know what you think about this topic and this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.